Okay, so what's different on this one here from what we did? There is a coefficient in front of x squared, so this is going to complicate it a little bit. So what we need to do is when it's in that vertex form, we don't want that coefficient there. We want it to be without a coefficient. So we've got to factor that coefficient out of just these two here. So we're going to factor out a 4. So this would be 4 times what? So x squared, 4 times x squared is 4x squared, right? And then 4 times what is 16x? Plus 4x. And so now we're going to do our same idea as what we did before. So we're going to take our b is going to be this here. This is our b, not the original b, but this here will be your b. So we'll take our b, divide it by 2, square it. So that's a 4 divided by 2 squared, which is 4. 2 squared, which is 4. So I'm going to, this would be 4 times x squared plus 4x. And then this is going to be a plus 4 inside here. And my next step is going to be a little different. Because there are parentheses here and there's a 4 in the front, this is really 4 times 4. What's 4 times 4? 16. 16. So instead of offsetting it with the -4, we're going to offset it with a -16. So let me repeat that because that's you haven't seen one like that. Again, we have a coefficient of 4 here. So we take 4 times 4, which is 16, and then we offset with -16. Questions? Okay, so now we're going to rewrite this. Y equals 4 times what squared? X plus 2. How do we get the 2 here? Half of this here, half of this 4x. So that's half of that one. And then 12 minus 16 is? -4. So there is our vertex form. Questions on that? Happy to answer a question if you have a question. Okay, so number 2, again, I have a coefficient in front of my x squared. So what am I factoring out this time? A 3, that's right. So this would be 3 times what? Paulo, tell me what goes inside here. What goes inside here?
X squared minus.
Yep. So we factored the 3 out of both of those, so it's x squared minus 12x, and then we take our -12 divided by 2 and square it. And that gives us positive 36. So I'm going to put it up here. Inside, I'm going to put it in green. So plus 36. So that 36 is multiplied by 3, which is how much? Calculator's nice. It's 108, that's right. So we're going to offset this with a negative 108 here. So once again, 3 times 36, which is 108. And so we offset that with a negative 108. Does that make sense? Extra step there. Do you have a question? Oh, no. Okay, just thinking aloud. Yeah, okay. So then this gives me 3 times what squared?
3 times 6.
X minus 6 or plus 6? Minus 6, good, because the sign comes from here. And then 102 minus 108 is? Negative 6. So there is my vertex form. Okay, we're going to temporarily skip number 3, and I want you to do number 4 is your new try. So do this one. I'll come back and do number 3. So first you factor out the 2, the first 2 terms.
Like his yours is stupid.
My God. Alright. Now. That's what you no. No.
You're supposed to say math.
My. No.
Yeah. So 2 out of G. X.
So it'd be X squared plus 2X. Yes. Now plus X. Now plus X. And then so now you take your B over 2X. I need over 2 over 2 squared. So it'd be 2 over 2. Yes, put 1. Oh, look, bro, what kind of now do that? I'll wait for
My name isn't out there.
now, plus 1.
Outside the wall.
And then simplify that. Yes. So with half of two, yeah, and square, and then with come on, you're like, you know, you get that. You get that. Oh, why you holding my hand, bro? You're the person who's oh, no, what am I cutting? What? That's a start. Yeah, exactly. No. You should do it.
Okay, so on this you try. You can bring your attention back up here, please. So on the inside here we added 1. Let me know if you have a question on that. 2 times 1 is 2, so we offset with a -2. So this gives us 2 times x plus 1 squared plus 8.
What? What's the plus? What's the plus mean?
Because it's a positive 10 minus 2.
Just a plus.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so let's do number 5. We want to change to vertex form and then sketch the graph. So changing this to vertex form, let's use a red. We would take what number divided by 2 and square it? 4. 4 divided by 2 squared, which is?
4.
Yeah. So this is x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 3 minus 4, because we want to offset that positive 4 with a -4 here. I can't just add any number I want there. I have to take it -4 and add it so that it doesn't change my equation. So then I get y equals x plus what squared? 2. So I take half of this 4 to give me that 2, and then 3 minus 4 is -1. So x plus 2 squared minus 1. And then what is my vertex there? -2. -2 what? -1. So -2, -1. Does that make sense for my vertex? Okay, so now I need to graph 3 points. So I'm going to make an XY table. I have to go back to number 3. I'll do that after this one. So what's a good number to pick? 0. So if you wanted to, you could put the 0 in the original. And it's nice if you could do that in your head, or you could put it in here, either one. And so we get 0, 3. Kylie, do you know how we find our third point? That's right. We want to reflect it over the line. So we go 2 to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2 to the left. And so my graph looks like that. Okay, and I'm going to go back and do number 3 because I skipped that and I forgot to go back and do it. Is there anybody that's still looking at this up here? Okay, number 3. What do I want to factor out on number 3? -2. So this is going to be x squared. And then -2 times what is 20x? -10x. Okay, and so this is where it gets a little tricky. We take our b, divide it by 2, and square it. So inside our parentheses, we add 25. So where we offset it, this is where it gets a little tricky. So we have a -2 times 25 is -50, right? So what we did is we really added over here, we added a -50. So how do we want to offset that over here? +50. Does that make sense? Usually we are just taking this times this and then taking the negative, but this time it's already negative, so we're adding 50 to offset that. Questions on that? So -2 times 25 gives us -50. So all of this right here, this 25 really represents -50, so we offset it with a +50. So Omar, what would our equation be in vertex form? What goes inside here? So we always say half of the 10. What's half of 10? 5. So is it a -5 or a +5? Minus, because this is a minus here. And then we take -53 plus 50, which is -3. So I know that one's a little tricky with that negative there. Okay, that's it. That's all we're going to do for notes today. Questions on that?